Every week, in the heart of Nigeria's capital, a critical dialogue unfolds. Ministers, journalists, and policymakers gather to keep the nation informed on the progress of governance. This is the Ministerial Press Briefing, a platform for accountability, transparency, and national engagement. On the 4th of March 2025, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation hosted its third weekly Ministerial Press Briefing of the year. These briefings are a direct response to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive that ministers must regularly engage with the public, ensuring that Nigerians remain informed about the government's achievements, challenges, and policy direction.
Today marks an important opportunity for the Honorable Ministers to brief Nigerians on the successes and milestones achieved under their leadership. This session provides a multimedia platform for open engagement, allowing the public to gain first-hand insight into the policies, programs, and reforms driving the ministry's mandate.
What is the purpose of these briefings? At their core, they serve three key objectives: accountability and transparency, ensuring that government actions are communicated openly to the Nigerian people; public engagement, providing a platform for dialogue between citizens and policymakers; strategic policy communication, clarifying the administration's vision, progress, and future plans. These sessions are not just about speeches. They allow for open interaction where journalists, analysts, and everyday Nigerians can raise questions directly with government officials. On this occasion, the spotlight was on the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, under the leadership of Honorable Minister Dr. Jumoke Oduwole and Honorable Minister of State Senator John Onwan Eno. The ministry has been at the forefront of advancing Nigeria's economic transformation.
This ministry facilitates the development of Nigerian businesses, regulatory-wise, policy-wise, for them to be able to thrive. I'd like to say a bit about the ministry. This morning, just under 2,000 people work in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. About 1,100 are based in Abuja, and we have about 800 around the country. I would mention some of the departments, both whether investment promotion, the trade department, industrial departments, inspectorates, a whole slew of professionals working to deliver this work for the Nigerian people. So that's the mandate and that's the role.
Dr. Oduwole outlined significant achievements in the first 100 days of office.
Some of the things we've been able to achieve in the last 100 plus days. And in addition to what Mr. President has been doing since May of 2023. Now, we all know that the 8-point agenda, this ministry sits squarely within item 7 of the 8-point agenda of accelerating economic diversification. And we partner and collaborate with a number of other ministries because we're enablers. So we work with Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Arts and Creative Economy, Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, a whole host of other ministries as well, health, just to enable and to make sure that investments, industry, trade happens within this economy. I'll just brag a bit and say that this ministry was the first to hold its strategic retreat in 2025. And we committed to 3 things. We were committed to our mandates, and that what I mean by retreat, the directors and the agencies, about 20 agencies and offices under this ministry is quite a big one. We committed to our mandates. We identified 3 strategic priority projects that we will deliver under the CDCU, that's the Central Coordination Delivery Unit, and we identified the budget item that is allocated to that. And what this means is that we're geared up for efficiency and transparency in delivery because we know where the funding is coming from, we know what it is we're going to do, and we know how it fits into our mandate and Mr. President's 8-point agenda. So we have that clarity. As the Honorable Minister of Information said, 2025 is an inflection point, and Mr. President has made that clear that this is the year to really galvanize all the reforms that have been done since his arrival and take it forward.
Including expanding trade under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Deepening trade relations with 5 key countries, we positioned Nigeria as an AfCFTA digital trade champion and commenced the review of our trade policy. So from November, Nigeria registered its interest in digital trade championship at that time. We also had on the 26th of November, a ministerial consultation with exporters to reassess where they are in terms of regulatory environment, trade facilitation, exports proceeds, and how to break that into an action plan to really debuckle that bottleneck for exporters. So we also had the privilege of having a successful WTO trade review. You use it as an opportunity to hear what the world feels about your economy. We also, of course, attended Brazil G20, and there was an India state visit, AfCFTA roundtable in January. We had the privilege of hosting His Excellency the Secretary General. And at that roundtable, we also had Nigerian traders who have leveraged AfCFTA present and talk about their aspirations, how it's been going in actually using AfCFTA trading goods. And of course, we were awarded the Digital Trade Championship. We're happy to lead and work with other countries. It's a very good one. And why that is important is because we looked at the GDP and services. Trade in services is very important for the Nigerian economy, but particularly when you look at technology, that's where our young people are thriving. Out of 9 unicorns across Africa, 5 of them emanate from here. Our financial services are doing well. Our fintechs are phenomenal. Edutech, agritech, hospitality, transport, name it. In the services sector, Nigeria is doing extremely well. And we're optimizing AfCFTA to create jobs. Outsourcing of business services is an area where we've been prioritizing because Nigerian youth can have jobs right from here and earn dollars. And we're talking about productive jobs, not only customer care service. So the first thing is that we're on a good time zone. We're an English-speaking population, and our youth are energized. They're entrepreneurial, so they can self-manage. So you can work remotely. They do work remotely. That program has already started. There's a NATIP under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. There's another program under the Office of the Vice President, and yet another program under the Ministry of Communication, Innovation, and Digital Trade.
Landmark investment initiatives positioning Nigeria as a premier investment destination.
Investment achievements that we've had. Nigeria bid for Afrexim, the biggest trade fair in Africa. It's enabled by Afrexim Bank, and it's called the International Africa Trade Fair. It's a very, very catalytic game changer for any economy. Nigeria bid for it in November and we were shortlisted. So we're waiting for the announcement. We're really, really hopeful that we would get this. It's for 2027, which corresponds with Nigeria's 50th FESTAC anniversary. And so the first leg of it will be CANEX, which is a cultural fair in 2026 and then 2027.
The launch of the Industrial Revolution Work Group, IRWG, to drive industrial growth.
For the Industrial Revolution Work Group, to accelerate Nigeria's industrial revolution, the high-level town hall with MAN and other organized private sector with key industry stakeholders. Now, the key outcomes of this engagement was the announcement of the establishment of the Industrial Revolution Work Group, an elite task force focused on re-engineering the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan for a modern, innovation-driven economy. The work group has sub-technical teams dedicated to resolving critical industrial bottlenecks and developing long-term strategies for sectoral growth. There's also a partnership with UNIDO for industrial acceleration, and through this strategic partnership, UNIDO, under the Program for the Country Partnership, PCP, National Automotive Industry Conference, is strengthening local automotive manufacturing capabilities and access to finance, technology innovation, and research and development. Also, industry policy and governance, the startups for MSME growth acceleration, special economic zones and industrial clusters, value chain development in agriculture, mining, and sustainable energy and environment management.
One of the biggest highlights of the briefing was the 2025 national budget, a bold and ambitious roadmap for Nigeria's economic resilience.
The signing of the 54.2 trillion budget by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu only last week, the largest, of course, in Nigeria's history, testifies the administration's commitment to economic growth, national security, infrastructure development, and human capital advancement. This year, 2025, is set to be the year of consolidation, a year where all the transformative reforms initiated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration begin to bear tangible fruits in the lives of Nigerians. Already, we are witnessing the gradual reduction in prices of foodstuff, which is bringing much needed relief to our people. The 2025 budget is not just a financial document. It is a bold statement of intent, a roadmap for economic resilience, social stability, and national progress. The budget has demonstrated a renewed focus on security, infrastructure, education, health, solid minerals, agriculture, and other key areas that have a direct impact on the well-being and the socio-economic development of our country. Let me give the assurances that the federal government remains very committed to the efficient implementation of the 2025 budget in order to maximize its full impact on the lives of our citizens. I therefore call on all Nigerians to support these efforts and to join hands in building a prosperous and united Nigeria.
As Nigeria moves forward, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has laid out strategic plans, including strengthening industrial capacity, supporting SMEs and entrepreneurship, revitalizing the Nigerian automotive and textile industries, promoting sustainable energy solutions. A critical component of these briefings is the media, the bridge between the government and the people. By ensuring accurate, responsible, and development-focused reporting, journalists play a pivotal role in shaping public discourse. The question and answer session provided deeper insights as media professionals from various platforms sought clarifications and raised critical issues affecting Nigerians.
My question first, is at the onset of your presentation, you talk about collaboration with other ministries, and I'm particularly interested in the area of facilitating trade within the country, talking about moving goods from the north to the south and other parts of the country. Across local government, you find these young men, stopping vehicles, and then sometimes it leads to perishing of these goods. What are you doing to ensure that goods can move freely across the country? And then secondly, talking about even entrepreneurs exporting their products. In the area of the ease of doing business, how are you working to ensure, you talked about that, but maybe you should elaborate more on what the ministry is doing to ensure that exporting of goods become a little bit easy for SMEs. Thank you, ma'am.
Collaboration with other ministries. We're basically an enabler. That's what we do. And so trading within Nigeria is actually a reform from the PEBEC days, working with the Nigerian Governors Forum, working with the Joint Tax Board. I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of on market days, all the roadblocks that come up. It's the same thing towards the borders. We continue to work with all the agencies that are on ground in these, and it's good for the public to also pay attention and lend a voice so that this ease of doing business can also be facilitated as we support the trading within the country and also exporting of goods. So it's ongoing work, it's rigorous work. We all have to hold ourselves accountable on both sides of the divide, whether government or private sector, to deliver and enable the environment that we can all flourish in and be proud of. Thank you.
Our country, we are about 250 million population, which puts us at the risk of being the dumping ground for goods that come from countries that are signatories to the CFTA agreement. That has always been the concern, because you know that here cost of production is high, but it's cheaper to produce there. So how do you address this? I'm sure by now you should have your own opinion about this. So that how have you really assessed this, and how has it really helped our economy? The second question, I'm concerned about also that some major countries, you don't have direct flights. Some major countries that can facilitate trade. For instance, Nigeria to Brazil, the population there, and we have cultural links with Brazil. Why is it that we still don't have direct flight to Brazil? And no direct flight also to India from Nigeria, and also Trinidad and Tobago?
The AfCFTA agreement and dumping, so this was what Nigeria's main reasoning was, and delayed our signing. But while we're thinking about dumping and how it will negatively, there was a time during the negotiations that the other countries had to call us out that if Nigeria is shaking, what should smaller economies say? We're the giants of Africa. Our people are entrepreneurial. They're already trading in Namibia, in Kenya. They're already everywhere. So AfCFTA just helps them to trade even more. We're not afraid of things coming into our economy. We make sure through trade facilitation and rules of origin that nothing gets dumped on this economy. But at the same time, we're very bullish about exporting our quality products, because our products are in demand and they are good all across the continent and the world. So the cost of production, it keeps coming down when you have economies of scale, so we continue to work on that. And I just watch out for the space. We're also looking into something around direct cargo flights across Africa for our traders, because they trade a lot. So if we can bring them together, we can bring the cost down for cargo flights and further facilitate trade. So those are the kinds of things that the ministry works on.
I'm still staying with the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. The first shipment export, that we did, under that AFTA was in July, and it came 5 good years after we signed that agreement. So what do we expect, or when do we expect the next shipment, to come in?
Definitely, 5 years. We didn't start as vibrantly as we could have, but we're picking up, and we're being led by our businesses, our traders, and our services. They are going ahead of government. They're already trading across Africa. So ours is to facilitate for them. We signed the agreement. It's 5 years on. We actually announced our 5-year implementation review on the 16th of January when the Secretary General of the WTO Secretariat visited us here in Abuja. and we're strategizing on how to optimize. It's one of our main priorities for Mr. President's agenda.
It is important that when we are talking about digital trading, what is the cost of servicing these, trading activities? And what's going to be the consequence, particularly on the SMSEs? They are the one going to bear the brunt. Then the final buyers. Is government really doing anything to ensure that they assist, the operators of those trading activities? That is the first leg of the question. The second has to do with tracking of $50 billion, in announcement resulting from Mr. President's trips. Now, how much of this have we been able to put together? Then maybe on the final note, $50 to $80 billion is what we are targeting by 2030. Where are we at the moment in terms of GDP? Thank you.
The cost of servicing trading activities and the hike in data prices, I think that Mr. President was really very restrained. For a long time, the telcos had been asking, and it's because, like we all know, the cost of their doing business had gone up significantly. And it got to a stage where we were all experiencing dropped calls, and we were all experiencing the downsides of not having sufficient infrastructure to support the system. So the discussion, it was well negotiated. It was the minimum hike possible to make sure that MSMEs can also still adjust. What it speaks to is productivity. When we can produce more and we're more competitive, we then can make more to cover. It's a game of skills. So we are supporting the MSMEs. The ministry has a ton of stakeholder engagements and programs, both in the ministry and the agencies under us, like the Industrial Training Fund, like Bank of Industry, like Nexim for trading. And these interventions strengthen the businesses to be able to withstand the consequences of whatever shocks they have from the economy. In terms of the $50 billion, how much has arrived? We continue to track it. I wouldn't want to release a certain figure that I know that I'll be held to, but we track the investment flows as they come in from the CBN per quarter. We also track what the Bureau of Statistics releases. Our role as Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is to handhold those businesses, to remove the regulatory and bureaucratic bottlenecks, to share information, the transparency and the efficiency of public service delivery, to support them in whatever incentives are possible for them, and to bring that money home. Around the world, this is how it goes. When the investment announcements, that means they're indicating that they've seen something that they like in your economy and they want to come in. But before capital comes in, capital is really a coward. We need to make sure that those comforts are put in place, and that's the work of this ministry, and we continue to strive to do that.
As the briefing concluded, the message was clear. Nigeria is on a path of transformation. Through open dialogue, strategic policies, and a commitment to economic progress, the government aims to foster national prosperity and uplift every Nigerian. The ministerial press briefings are more than just meetings. They are a reflection of a government that listens, a nation that engages, and a future that is being built on clarity, purpose, and hope.